My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. We break down full UFC fight cards every single week, giving you our picks, predictions, our bets, and our fantasy plays. So make sure you like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. And if you want $50 free, go to wewantpicks.com/bets. We have 5 different betting partners who all offer their own promotions, their own matches, and their own giveaways. And then on top of that, after you sign up and after you make a deposit, we send you $50 however you want it. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, wewantpicks.com/bets. Next up at UFC 275, we have the rematch of one of the best fights I've ever seen. Definitely the best female fight of all time, but straight up one of the best fights ever. It was an amazing fight between Weili Zhang and Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Weili Zhang is 21-3 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, and she's coming off back-to-back losses to Rose Namajunas. Joanna Jedrzejczyk is 16-4 overall, 2-3 in her last 5, alternating wins and losses, but she's making her return after a 2-year layoff. And I mentioned this is a rematch of one of the most exciting fights I've ever seen. If you don't remember the first fight, it was a wild back-and-forth striking match where almost 400 strikes were landed, and Joanna's forehead swelled up worse than I've ever seen anything before in my entire life. What?
Joanna. You would say Joanna.
Yeah, Joanna. Joanna Jedrzejczyk. It was a razor-thin fight. The judges gave it to Weili. I actually think Joanna won that fight. Her swollen forehead, I think, is the reason the judges didn't give it to her. It was like hard to look at. Like, it looked like if they told you that like she has permanent brain damage, what are you laughing at?
No, you said it was hard to look at, and I remember, she was just a completely different person. Because Joanna, by the way, Joanna, if you're watching, you are not hard to look at. But in that fight, for a little bit, you were a little bit where it's like, my stomach hurts a little bit.
It was, if you said she's got brain damage, yep, that was her brain swelling. Like, it was hard to look at. Anyway, I think the judges were like, oh my God, she definitely lost this fight. But I personally would have scored it for her. I think it was a very close fight, and it was an amazing fight. Anyway, moving on to the rematch, Weili Zhang is a striker. She's more of a boxer than a kickboxer. She's coming off those back-to-back losses to Rose, but they were very different losses. The first loss was a quick knockout. The second one was a much closer fight where Weili looked very good. I think she won that fight. Other people do as well. She added wrestling to her game plan. She worked in 5 takedowns. She ended up losing that fight most likely because there were 2 scrambles in there that she lost, and she ended up on bottom. Weili has a ton of power, incredible volume, and pretty solid footwork. Joanna Jedrzejczyk is a phenomenal striker, and some people still consider her the division's greatest of all time. She has an insane 2-to-1 striking differential and an 81% takedown defense over 14 fights. So 2-to-1 striking differential by itself is not insane. 81% takedown defense by itself, not insane. Those 2 things over 14 fights, that is insane, especially when she was the champion for such a long period of time, fighting the best women on the planet. She has wins over current champion Carla Esparza, Michelle Waterson, Claudia Gadelha, Tisha Torres, Jessica Andrade, and she has never in her entire career lost a non-title fight. She's coming back after a 2-year layoff, and her last win was all the way back in 2019 against Michelle Waterson. The most impressive thing about that win, though, was that she had 3 takedowns of her own, and she still tripled Michelle's strikes. This is another close fight on a card loaded with close fights. And when I first saw it, I immediately was like, oh, Weili's going to win this fight. And it was because of her striking, her improved grappling, and the fact that she's been active. But then you look a little closer, and Joanna has the better wins. Joanna has much more experience at this level. Joanna arguably won the first fight. Jesus Christ. Arguably won the first fight.
Don't talk to me like that. You put respect on her name.
And now I'm seeing the fight a little closer than I originally had it. I'm still going to stick with Weili here, though, and I really do think the activeness makes the difference here. 2 years away is a very long time. And striking timing is something that comes with actual fighting. It is very hard to go away for over 2 years and then just fall right back into a striking rhythm. Even though Weili's active, I mentioned she's been more active. Those were losses. So even though they were losses, though, it's still time in the cage, still full camp, still preparing for a fight, still actually fighting, working in takedowns, working in striking, and continuing to move her career and continuing to push forward. After the first Rose loss, Weili went back, retooled, made improvements, and came back and honestly physically looked like a different fighter, but also worked in some new tools. After Joanna lost her belt, she fired her nutrition team, blamed the weight cut, pointed fingers at anybody except herself. And it's impossible to know what 2 years away looks like. I'm excited for this fight. I wish it was 5 rounds. It's only 3. And I actually think that's a factor here as well. So I like Weili to win the rematch. What do you think, Jackie Boy?
Yeah, I think if this was 5 rounds, I'd feel probably a little bit better about Joanna in the matchup because it will give her a little bit more time. You mentioned the layoff to find that rhythm, to get back in that striking mode. I don't think it's going to affect her as much as maybe like a younger fighter, a 25-year-old, because she is such a very, very good striker. She's been through all the reps before, and it's not like she's not been doing anything. She's still at ATT, Mike Brown. They'll have a game plan ready for her. I would feel more comfortable if it was 5 rounds. 3 rounds gives Weili that ability. She has the power advantage. She's going to land the harder shots, and in 3 rounds, she doesn't really have to pace herself as much. Even in the grappling, she can go a little bit more all in the takedowns if she chooses to, because she doesn't have to pace herself for 3 rounds. I mean, maybe she comes in first round really grapple heavy. Joanna does have that good takedown defense. I think Weili was only 1 of 8 in that first matchup, but Weili is improving her takedowns. If she wants to go that route, maybe she does to kind of mitigate the striking of Joanna, because nobody's going to strike better than Joanna technically as a kickboxer. And I like that you said it is like a boxer versus a kickboxer, because Joanna will go body, she'll go legs, she'll go head, she will go everywhere, kicks, do everything, and judges like seeing that. A lot of times when you're just kind of boxing, but you see the other strikes, the judges will go towards that guy or girl that looks like they're a little bit more active with the 3 or 4, 5 punch combinations with the kick, where Weili is just throwing 1-2 boxing combinations. To me, Joanna is the Jose Aldo of the women's strawweight division. I mean, she was the champion for a long time, and she only loses to champions or former champions. And unfortunately, in this matchup, she is against, again, a former champion of the division. So it's a very, very close, tough call. Weili's going to have the power. The layoff does worry me a little bit. Even in the exchange, if you watch that first fight, Joanna is very technical, but she's not a pure athlete. Where Weili, you can see the athleticism and things that she does, the way that she's able to move in and out of striking exchanges, even in the wrestling scrambles. You can tell she's just the more athletic person. With that said, I think that Joanna won that first fight. I think she finds a way to show the judges that she's more active in those exchanges. So Weili might have the power in the 1 and 2s, but it's going to be 4, 5, 6 punch kick combos from Joanna in those exchanges. I think she's looking sharp with the layoff. Max Holloway is one of those people that doesn't spar. He's a little bit more active, obviously, than Joanna. But I think that Joanna, the time off is going to serve her right. She got mentally right, whatever that means for that particular person. She's still with ATT, with Mike Brown. She seems like she's in a great space mentally, very happy, jovial. If you'll, if you go back to the dictionary for that one, I looked that up before the breakdown started. Jovial. I wanted to use jovial in this matchup. So my pick is going to be Joanna. She could end up being lock of the week, honestly, but it's a close call. I wish it was 5 rounds. I just think that she's able to throw a little bit more combos to get the judge's decision in this fight.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one. I'm definitely going to enjoy it. And honestly, I think I like Weili enough to throw on the money line. -155.
This is a pick fight, Angelo.
I think I'm pretty confident in her, honestly.
I mean, you just said you thought she won the first time.
And it's been many years. It's been 2.5 years or whatever it is. 2.5 years. Yeah, nothing changes in 2.5 years.
Look, my headset was like, I don't want to listen to that guy anymore. He was out. My headset was out of here, man. It's like, get me out of here.
So I may hit that up. We'll see what happens. But DraftKings wise, I actually don't think either one of these women should be in your DraftKings lineup. We're talking a 3-round fight, not a 5. I don't know how well either one's going to score. $8,800. That's a lot of money to spend. You really got to be counting on her to get those takedowns. I'm not going to have either one of my DraftKings lineup. What do you think? If it was 5 rounds, it'd be very different, but not 3.
Joanna's probably going to be on mine because I think that she finds a decision win that's 30 points, and I think she can get 70, 80 points in strikes because they're both going to be, they're both willing. It takes 2 to tango, and they're both going to be dancing and hopefully dance with me. I love Weili, too. I'm a big Weili person. She is hilarious. But yeah, Joanna, what's up? Let's dance.
Okay. Monkey Knife Fight Strike Line 115 to 97. I thought that was absurd. But then I just mentioned in their first matchup, they landed 400, almost 400. So yes, this is 3 rounds instead of 5. I don't think this fight's going to be. How often do rematches live up to the hype? Not very often. And not very often is it the exact same fight. Like, that was a war. Weili almost lost it. Joanna did lose it. Her forehead was disgusting. Why would you do that exact same? Why would you have the same game plan? Why? Why would you come out of that fight and then try to fight the exact same fight again? You wouldn't. You'd have to be crazy to do that. I'm expecting Weili to grapple, and I'm expecting Joanna to probably grapple or push the pace or try something different here. So I don't think these strike lines are going to be what they were last time. I just don't, because it would be foolish to have that same strike first game plan. It would just be foolish after the beating they both took. So I like less on the Monkey Knife Fight strike line, regardless of who you think wins. And I'm pretty confident in that. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I actually think the first half of the first round could be like the Rose Esparza fight, to where they're just like,
staring.
All right, are we going to do this again? And Joanna, the layoff, is trying to find a range and stuff. But I think once they start going at it, they really go at it. So that is pretty high, but I'll still probably play them more and more.
Yeah, no, I like the less on this, but check it out. Play your own line. WeWantPicks.com/MKF. They will instantly match your deposit. And if you want $50 free, you want some free money to deposit, go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit with any one of our 5 betting partners, and we send you $50 as a thank you.